Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over Nvidia and explaining why I'm buying this 1.2x leveraged ETF that's single stock exposed to Nvidia. So without further ado, guys, let's just get into the video. As you guys know, I'm not a financial advisor, planner, or anything of the sort, so make sure you guys do your own due diligence, speak to those people, do not copy my trades. All right, so here we go. On the live, I do YouTube lives every now and again, mostly Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to attend those and join in on the conversation, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you are notified whenever I do a live. All right, so real quick, I did cover this on one of my lives. I said that I was going to be making kind of a watch list, and I call this the Titans, right? The Titans watch list. This list will probably get, chopped down as I do more and more research. But basically, we all know what the Magnificent Seven is, and we kind of know that the Magnificent Seven is kind of going away the dodo, right? Muted growth, they're not really innovating, all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to make a list of these new, companies, or not new, but these companies that are going to be playing heavy into the whole AI thesis. So, I made this list, and I want to talk about Nvidia, right? Because Nvidia is part of the Magnificent Seven, but I think they set themselves apart dramatically from the other players, right? And I want to explain why. So we all know who Nvidia is, right? They make hardware, they make GPUs, okay? But there's so much more to the company, and I think we're missing that, right? We're forgetting that. Just because we have seen this stock decline over the last couple of weeks, we seem to forget that, under or behind every stock is a company, and the company is, selling some type of product or service. And for me personally, I think Nvidia still has a lot of room to grow. Okay, there's a lot of tailwinds for Nvidia. One being that the current administration is very friendly towards deregulating AI. That's one. And two, they're going to make it more easier for businesses come into the future. So there's also been all this talk about building out AI infrastructure and all this investment into AI. So again, I really think Nvidia is going to be at the forefront compared to some of their other counterparts in the Magnificent Seven. So real quick, just to give you guys some real quick history about Nvidia, if in case you don't know, they make hardware, they make GPUs, right? And GPUs are all the rage now. Like GPUs is what it's all about. You don't need CPUs almost anymore. Like there's CPUs like Intel, they have made their money off of, off of CPUs, right? But GPUs are way more powerful than CPUs are at this moment in time, right? And GPUs are being used for basically the creation of artificial intelligence, right? To be able to run all those softwares, to be able to run all those computations, et cetera, right? So Nvidia really made a name for itself when Bitcoin was like really coming into the spotlight, and the whole, Bitcoin mining thing and all that stuff. They were all trying to get their hands on Nvidia GPUs, right? Because GPUs can, I guess, compute math way better than a CPU can. So now it's all about GPUs. Data centers, are, filled with all these CPU servers. Those are kind of becoming outdated. And now, according to Nvidia, the new wave is going to be GPU server farms. So that is exciting. But again, I'm not going to get too deep into the technology because that's not what this video is about. And I'm going to show you guys kind of what really got me excited about Nvidia. So real quick, we look at Nvidia, right? We all know the stock price has been getting beaten down, and much like their Magnificent Seven counterparts, they haven't really been having a lot of growth recently, right? We could see year over year, 262%, which is a lot, like that's pretty crazy, 26 billion. Then it turned into 122%, right? And then in October of 2024, 93, and then as recent as January 2025, 77%. So it looks like their growth is on the decline. Right. They've still been, beating all estimates by every measure. They're still a very profitable company. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why Nvidia? Why not AMD? Well, let's look at AMD real quick. I'm not looking for a value stock, right? I'm not looking for a deep value play. That's not what I'm looking for. If that's the type of investor you are, then maybe AMD might make more sense for you. Nvidia is what I'm going to bet my money on because of the future and what growth prospects it does have. AMD does not have that much prospects when it comes to, the future of AI and the continuous development, research, the hardware needed, the partnerships that Nvidia has. AMD is not going to be able to take that market share away, in my opinion. All right, in my opinion, I'm sure I'll probably eat my words in maybe a couple of years when AMD is worth more than Nvidia, but at the current moment, based on what I know, I'd rather go with Nvidia. So, I mean, even if we look at AMD, I mean, they're not a bad company, not by any measure. They've been slowly increasing over the years, right? But again, you look at these stats and compare them to Nvidia, and Nvidia is just killing it, right? And I'm not going to go give you guys a bunch of articles and stuff like that on AI and who owns the market share. Here's a quick thing from ChatGPT. Who has the largest market share when it comes to AI? Nvidia, AMD, or other competitors? And this is what the response was from ChatGPT. When it comes to AI hardware market share, especially for AI accelerators like GPUs, Nvidia is the dominant player by a large margin. Here's a quick breakdown. Nvidia, over 80% of the AI accelerator GPU market. Why? Because of their CUDA ecosystem, dominance in data center GPUs, and massive adoption in AI model training and inference. So in a presentation at GTC, the CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang, he actually goes over their CUDA ecosystem. And I thought that was so cool. Like, if you actually go through that whole video, it's about 2 hours long. It's totally worth the watch. And after watching that made me excited about Nvidia and the future of Nvidia. AMD, again, they have roughly, probably less than 10% to be honest, but they have 10% of the market share. They're improving quickly with their MI300 series, but still lag far behind Nvidia in terms of ecosystem and software support, used by some supercomputers and select cloud providers, right? Whereas Nvidia is used by OpenAI, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all the big cloud providers, all the big AI players. All right. And then you have others. You have Google. They have their own stuff. Intel, again, they're kind of the dinosaur. I think they're, probably not going to be relevant as they used to be in probably a couple more years. I mean, their stock price has already reflected that. You have Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft using AI optimized chips for consumer products, but are not players in the AI training inference GPU space, right? So Apple, I believe, uses ARM chips. Microsoft, I mean, they have their whole data centers and all that stuff. So, basically ChatGPT is telling you that Nvidia is the market, right? Is the AI market. Now they own it, not only in terms of hardware, but also software. Okay. They also own the software to it. So I think this is what makes Nvidia so exciting. So there's always articles that come out, and you got to take a lot of this with a grain of salt. But, there's some people that are like, oh, Nvidia's, overvalued, the PE ratio is off the charts. How many times have you heard that about tech companies being overvalued? I feel like every tech company at some point in its time has always been attacked for being overvalued, only for the stock to continue climbing higher. And with this recent pullback that Nvidia is having, right, that Nvidia had, I think it's an opportunity to buy, in my own opinion, which is why I'm buying a single stock ETF exposed to Nvidia. But anyways, I'll have this link in the description for you guys. But the net of this is they're basically saying that it's muted, like Nvidia is not really doing anything exciting, right? Which I vehemently disagree with. Just a bunch of stuff. It's not a whole lot of momentum, et cetera, right? And you guys can check this article out. I'll put it down below in the description for you guys for the show notes. All right. This is the GTC, conference that you guys can look at. And again, I watched this thing from start to finish. The technology that Nvidia is coming out with is ridiculous, right? It's not just GPUs, right? It's not just GPUs for, playing games, right? They're doing stuff for AI. They're doing stuff for networking. I didn't even know they were in the networking space, but they're also coming out with their own line of hardware that deals with Ethernet, right? Broadcom would definitely have something to say about that because Broadcom owns that space. But now here you come, Nvidia coming out with, hardware that is really, really good for Ethernet based or fiber based technologies. And it makes, transmissions a lot faster. They showcase some of the technology in here, and it's really, really cool. If you're not a big tech guy, that's or tech gal, that's okay. Just going through the presentation and understanding kind of like how all of this works and all the cool things that they have and a lot of the proprietary data that they own, or the proprietary libraries that they own under their CUDA ecosystem, like that stuff is very exciting, and how they're a part of every single industry, whether it's robotics, whether it's AI, whether it's autonomous driving, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's labor, right, in a warehouse, whether it's, social media, they're coming out with their whole agentic AI models, which basically means that these AIs can use deductive reasoning or some type of reasoning, and they can come to their own decision making, which is kind of wild because up till now, AI has really just been a chatbot, right? But these new AIs that they're coming out with, they can actually make decisions themselves. And it's just really, really cool. This whole presentation is worth a watch. So anyways, going further down, just going through their actual investor presentation. Yes, most companies have investor presentations. I really recommend you guys check this out. But this is everything that they're working on, right? I wish they included a roadmap of what they want to accomplish this year into the next 5 years. I didn't see it in here. They do cover it in the GTC conference in this video. But here, they kind of go over all the stuff that they're involved with. It's even if you're not an IT guy or a computer guy or anything like that, or guy or gal, just going through this tells you how much how involved Nvidia is with the future of AI compared to a lot of their other competitors like AMD. They're the premier hardware group. They're going to be the premier there's going to be Nvidia hardware in everything in the future. At least I think. Robotics, definitely going to be in there. Drone technology, absolutely going to be in there. It's going to be everywhere. So I'm really, really bullish on Nvidia. I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, I really recommend people check them out. Here you guys can kind of check their cash flows and how they're doing, their markets. They're in data centers, gaming, professional visualization, automotive, right? They're going to be in a little everything. They also announced a partnership with GM to basically help them with their autonomous driving projects and things like that. Again, they're going to be involved in a lot of data centers because, again, data centers used to be kind of the whole Intel server rack model, but now because AI is becoming so prevalent and there's so many different flavors of AI, and more companies and enterprises are starting to adopt AI into their own businesses, into their own ecosystems, you're going to need a lot of compute power, and that compute power is going to come from GPUs that are made by Nvidia. So there was just a quick article on Seeking Alpha that I found. The decline in Nvidia's, well, let me go to the title. Nvidia declined after GTC shows growing investor disconnect from Barron's, right? The decline in Nvidia's share price after GTC this week highlights a growing disconnect by investors from the company's fundamentals. Nvidia shares are trading at 26 times projected earnings, an undemanding valuation for a company that expected to grow revenue 57% year over year. Much of the disconnect is due to three reasons, all of which Nvidia has addressed. The rise of application-specific integrated circuits. Again, I don't know what that means. The threat of tariffs. I have covered tariffs on my live almost every other day. And the worry that demand for artificial intelligence accelerators could slow, especially with the release of DeepSeek R1 model earlier this year, which is the Chinese version of ChatGPT, right? Just real quick, DeepSeek laden with a lot of problems. I think the market overreacted to DeepSeek, and the overreaction was unwarranted. DeepSeek is still miles behind, some of America's best AI models. Of course, that's left to be seen, but the whole reason was the market had a huge sell-off and all of this other stuff was because DeepSeek was supposedly made much cheaper than what it cost to make, ChatGPT and some of the other AI models out there, only for people to find out after the fact that no, DeepSeek actually cost a couple $100 million. So again, totally different. Nvidia chief executive Jensen Huang addressed these issues at various times during his GTC keynote address. Huang told onlookers that many orders for application-specific integrated circuits get canceled and they have to be better than the best. Again, I don't really know what all that means. But anyways, he also said that nearly the entire world got it wrong after investors freaked out that the R1 release could mean slowing GPU demand because of the whole DeepSeek thing. DeepSeek was made with less hardware and less money, which again, not entirely true. The rise of agentic AI, where AI systems can pursue goals and make decisions on their own, will require easily 100 times more computing power than was believed just last year. To emphasize that, Wang said that the top 4 cloud service providers, CSP, Amazon Web Services, Azure from Microsoft, Google Cloud Platform, and Oracle Cloud, have purchased 3.6 million Blackwell GPUs this year compared to the 1.3 million Hopper GPUs purchased last year. Blackwell GPUs only just started shipping in the later part of 2024. So Blackwell, he talks about Blackwell and the Blackwell chips in GTC in the keynote. I really recommend people check that out because it is very fascinating. But basically, the Blackwell chips are exponentially much faster and better than the previous models, which I believe were the Hopper GPUs. So technology is getting better, faster, more efficient, quicker. So again, I think Nvidia has a lot of growing demand in the future. Again, this is all basically qualitative kind of analysis. You know, I'm not really diving into the balance sheet and all this other stuff. I don't really need to. I mean, you can look at it from a high, kind of a bird's eye view. Yes, things seem to be slowing for Nvidia, but I don't think that that is the entire story. I don't think so. I think Nvidia is going to be at the forefront of this whole AI revolution. Lastly, Wang said on Wednesday that the tariffs would not be an issue for Nvidia in the near term. So the whole reason why the stock market has been selling off is primarily because of, you know, President Trump's tariff talks and, you know, the tariff threats and all that stuff. So we'll find out what happens on April 2nd, because that is when all the tariffs are supposed to be announced. So again, Nvidia is also part of the Stargate project. I've covered this before as well. I'll include a link down below in the description for you guys, of course, so you guys can check this out. But basically, this is a partnership between Oracle, Nvidia, and OpenAI to build out the infrastructure for artificial intelligence, right, throughout the United States, starting in Texas. And it's a $500 billion investment. So I think, again, Nvidia is going to be a major player. They have a lot of room to grow. So if we look at the Nvidia stock, year to date, they're still down about 15%. If we look at 6 months, you know, pretty much all of their gains have been pretty much erased. So again, I really think this is a good opportunity to purchase something, you know, something for Nvidia, right? To purchase either some shares of Nvidia, or for me, in my case, I want to purchase something that I'm going to be able to make some income off of, not just own the shares, right? Similar to my Palantir position, which is invested into a 1.2x levered position with income, with the option for income. I wanted something similar for Nvidia, but I did not want to invest in Roundhill because I have so much Roundhill. Pretty much my entire portfolio at this point for you know, cover call income investing is all Roundhill, and I wanted something different to kind of diversify myself, but it's hard to find anything. The only other fund manager out there that has anything relevant is from yieldmax. No offense to any yieldmax holders out there, but I don't want to invest in yieldmax for any reason whatsoever. So I chose not to invest, you know, in Nvidia, and I really am looking at NVM from Roundhill. So this is NVW, excuse me, NVW. So NVW from Roundhill is Nvidia's weekly pay ETF. NVW seeks to pay weekly distributions to shareholders while targeting enhanced returns corresponding to 100% of Nvidia's weekly performance. Now, the scary part about this is that it can go to zero. But in order for this to go to zero, the stock, Nvidia, would have to lose 83% of its value. Whether that's possible or not, I personally don't think so. But investors who might be worried about an ETF going to zero should avoid an ETF like this. All right, so real quick, here's a quick overview. The Roundhill Nvidia Weekly Pay ETF is designed for investors seeking a combination of income and growth potential NVW aims to provide weekly distributions and calendar week returns before fees and expenses equal to 1.2 times or 120% the calendar week total return of Nvidia common shares. All right. There's no guarantee the fund will successfully provide a return, et cetera, right? So why would you invest into NVW? Weekly distributions, NVW pays weekly distributions every week, offering recurring income, enhanced exposure. You're getting 120% leverage exposure to Nvidia's weekly performance. So if it drops down, 10%, you're probably going to drop down even more if you're investing into NVW. All right. However, on the flip side, if Nvidia recovers, let's say it recovers 10%, then you could see a recovery of, 12 or 15 or whatever the percentage is, right? So for me personally, that is attractive because I really think Nvidia right now is at a discounted price. And then, it's a powerful combination. You get single stock leverage with weekly income. Okay, so it has a 99 basis point expense ratio, which is kind of high, definitely. But what I want to do is hold this for the short term and swing trade it. So I will hold this up until a certain point. Either the stock price recovers and I've made a certain amount of money, and then I will sell it. Whether I will hold it even longer is left to be seen. I could change my mind, but this is kind of the way I'm thinking about it. Same thing with the Palantir ETF, PLTW from Roundhill. I plan to just swing trade it, hold it until they recover, make some money on the, during the recovery phase, right? Make some income, and then eventually just sell it at a profit. But again, things can change. I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do. I like the idea of holding a very good, momentum stock, a stock with, definitely some growth prospects while making some income off of it. So this is why I like the Palantir PLTW and the Nvidia NVW ETF from Roundhill. So they did have some distributions. They're doing weekly distributions. This is the distribution calendar. And when they first came out, they had a distribution of 37 cents, then 26 cents, then 19 cents, and then they came out with 55 cents. So it's kind of sporadic. It's not stable. And, I'm sure the volatility that this, that the underlier had, that the stock had, Nvidia had, is definitely a factor in all of this. So again, very exciting. I like Nvidia. I'm very bullish on Nvidia, and I'm going to be opening a position in this ETF. Again, my idea could change on a whim. So again, do not follow my trades at all. Okay. But this is, I just wanted to compare this with Nvidia's option income from yieldmax. So if we look at year to date, and this is the reason why I didn't want to go with the yieldmax one, right? Yieldmax, I have kind of a sour taste from them, just being exposed to some of the communities that are out there and some of the YouTube videos out there. I just don't want to touch anything with the yield max tied to it. But here's something interesting. So if we look at year to date, down 27.66%, right? If we look at Nvidia, and if we look at Nvidia stock, actually Nvidia stock right here, and if we look at year to date, it's down 14.9%. So this is almost double than what the actual underlier was, right? And then because of the way these option income, these covered call ETFs work, they only can see so much upside. They can only see so much upside. They're capped on their upside, right? You'll make income, but you're going to be capped on your upside. Whereas this weekly pay, the Nvidia weekly pay from Roundhill, you get 120% of whatever the gain or the loss is, right? I find that very attractive. And you get income, right? Whatever that distribution amount is. So I am going to be adding that. This is my position in Palantir. And I just want to show this to everybody just so you know. Of course, your entry price matters, right? When you bought in. But right now, I'm actually sitting in the green for this ETF. Okay, I'm actually sitting in the green. I actually have a return right now, a total return of $241. So I know this can recover. I know this can recover well. This was my first experiment into this, right? So if this recovered, then I know that the NVW will recover as well. And meanwhile, while it recovers, I'll be able to collect some income. So that is pretty much it, guys. I know this is a long video. I hope you guys got a lot of value from it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I do plan to open this position at some point in the near future. And when I do, it'll just be added, and it'll just be another ETF that's going to pay me some type of money to hold it. So I don't know how much I'm going to put into it. I might go with something small, or I might just dump a large amount. But that is the idea behind this ETF and this investment. Again, I'm very bullish on Nvidia for now. That is subject to change. Maybe something will happen in the future where they're not as attractive as they used to be. So if you like this type of content, you like this type of video, be sure to hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know in the comments. Do you like Nvidia? Do you think it's overvalued? Do you think it's a dinosaur? Do you think there's better stocks out there, better plays out there? One question I really do have: is there something comparable to this that's not yieldmax? Again, is there something comparable to this weekly pay, or I don't care if it's weekly or monthly, but is there something comparable to this? Because I haven't found it, and I would really be interested in seeing something like it. I don't care if it's a covered call ETF or not, but I like this from Roundhill. I don't like the fact that I'm so heavily invested into Roundhill products, because I have PLTW, I have YETH, I have XPay and XDTE. Truthfully, I might be exiting the YETH, the Ethereum cover call ETF, probably at the end of the month once I get paid my dividend, and then I'll probably roll a lot of this money into the Nvidia from weekly pay from Roundhill. So those are my thoughts. Just wanted to share everything with everybody, with the audience. But again, if you guys know of something that's similar to this, that's maybe not Roundhill, please let me know. I don't like that I'm so heavy into Roundhill, but at the same time, they've been doing pretty good with my money, so I can't complain. But all right, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.